I don't think y'all are understanding what I was saying about the zombie bite the other day.
No, bro, you changed it midway. But anyway, we don't need to get into it.
I didn't change anything. I listened back to it when I was clipping it out. Okay, if you inject someone with zombie virus, they can turn into a zombie without the bite. We're talking about it. No, you do not get to sniff your way out of this one.
Oh my god. All right. Continue.
Mark isn't what's important. It's the chip. We already know that. So it's the virus that matters. The virus is like the extraction. As the virus spreads, the extraction spreads.
Spread isn't really the right word in this case, but continue.
So if you remove the zombie virus from someone before they're 100% zombie, it's like removing the extraction.
Okay.
There's no 50% zombie. There's no 75% zombie. There's no 20% zombie. There's no 17% zombie. It's you're a zombie or you're not. You have the zombie virus in you, and it spreads, and it continues, and it grows throughout your body, and you become a weaker and weaker human, but all at once, it's like flipping a switch, just like the Otsutsuki reincarnation, to where in a certain moment, you turn into a zombie. It's like a flipping a light switch. You're there, and then you're not.
Yeah.
But you're 100% human, even though the virus is continuing to spread and weaken you. The same with this Otsutsuki stuff.
It's
so you're
not the same with the Otsutsuki,
still you, even
though.
if like your genetics.
It's stupid, but you're not 100% human. Like this is why I don't.
No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. Boruto is 100% Boruto. His soul is intact.
Okay.
The moment it hits 100%, Momoshiki erases that, flips the switch, turns it into Momoshiki's soul. He's turning the zombiness on.
Yeah, but so
that
far,
happens
none
all
of what
at
you're
once.
saying is what you said the other day.
Because
first of all,
well, no, this doesn't change what I said the other day. I still agree with everything I said the other day. This is in addition to it.
No, because the stuff we were talking about the other day was in a different context in terms of like the cutting off the hand thing, and that was important to why it was like not the same. But continue anyway.
Okay. I don't want to use this, but narratively, I'm not even going to say it wouldn't make sense. I'm going to say, in addition to not making sense, it'd be the stupidest thing ever if losing your hand actually just did make it not a worry.
Yeah, well, that's why.
So they would never do that.
So I'm gonna say it's not super implied this is the case, but it's not really addressed at all, really. But that's why Keto was saying he doesn't think the actual chip is on the hand. Hypothetically, I think a heart would be a good place. Kind of like Madara's like seal on Obito, his curse mark on Obito, where it's on the heart. Because if the karma chip was on the heart, you can't just cut that off. You would die. But the seal, for some reason, manifests on the hand. Why that would be in two different places, I don't know. But that's why he was saying the chip itself might be in a different spot.
First of all, I don't think there's an actual chip inside the body because it's dissolved. Do you agree with that?
No, so the way
I think
so
you can
using the sugar cube
chip,
analogy,
but it's not a chip.
If you took a sugar cube and start to put in the tea, and let's just say you let it half dissolve, so there's half the cube left, it's still a sugar cube. It's just half of the sugar cube now. Ooh, the other half is dissolved in the tea or coffee or whatever the hell you're putting it in. So it's the same idea with the karma. Like it's still there, just half the chip at 50%.
I see the chip like the bite. When the virus spreads, there's not as much virus at the bite source. But if you cut that bite source off, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but it's not in that. I mean,
it's already spread.
Yeah, so about two things though. One, the way it's clearly depicted is that it keeps extracting from the seal, the chip, whatever you want to call it, until it's completely extracted. And if you were to remove it, kind of like Kawaki's case, what's already been extracted doesn't amount to anything. Like Kawaki doesn't continue becoming Otsutsuki at that point. He just stays exactly where he left off. But that's not true for the zombie case. It would keep spreading like a normal virus. That's why it's different.
I think the mark on Boruto's chest is a karma mark. It's the same thing that's on his hand, even if it looks different. That means you can have more than one mark.
Is like the karma filling in the gap. So the reason Momoshiki took his own karma seal data and turned it into Boruto's to heal Boruto's wounds. I think that's why. So basically, the karma mark. I don't think it's a just a tattoo. I think it's 3-dimensional. Like it filled up Boruto's lost parts, essentially. Like it filled in the hole 3-dimensionally. That's just
Okay,
the
maybe
karma
I
seal
worded
data
that badly because I
was
agree
used
with
for
you.
that,
That's
and
what I
it
was
just
saying.
shows up as karma just to show us that artistically.
Yeah, that's what I was meaning. So it's I guess it's more of a mark of karma. The point is that it was a byproduct of the karma seal. Like if you didn't
Correct.
have karma at all, that wouldn't exist, obviously. But that's saying like obvious things. So
Yeah.
I was just saying stuff we already knew. But I think that's important because that shows you how the karma spreads.
Well,
The fact that he can do that. Because I don't think he could have done that at first.
I think Momoshiki could just theoretically do that. Like if Boruto had died in like the Garou fight or something. I mean, Momoshiki's soul may not have been manifested enough. That's okay. Assuming Momoshiki's soul was like present enough, you just didn't feel like showing up before, then Momoshiki could. If he needed more Momoshiki extraction to like be present enough to do it, that's a different story. In which case, maybe he could.
I don't
do
think
that
the
earlier.
soul changes. No, I think the soul's been there in the exact same way since the very beginning.
Okay, in that case, then yeah, he could have done in the Garou fight, but then Boruto would have been stuck at 5%, and the rest of Momoshiki's data wasted. Like,
okay, so hypothetically, if this is gonna sound ridiculous, but right after, so like episode 66, right? Right after defeating Momoshiki, just Naruto just is like, oh my god, he's Momoshiki, I'm gonna kill him, and he big ball Rasengan's Boruto. 95% of Boruto's body is vaporized, just like Momoshiki. All that's left of Boruto is his feet.
problem with that though is
Karma
that
seal restored that 95% with just black essence. He looks like Black Zetsu.
So you would need to change your scenario a little bit, because what
where
Momoshiki
it's
did was
around his heart.
resuscitate Boruto so that Boruto never died. Like, of course, the translations are inconsistent because on one hand, by saying I resuscitated you is to say you didn't die. I kept you from actually dying, essentially, versus him saying you died later on in the chapter. It's like, which is it? But it seems implied that Boruto needed to be like not super dead. So if you vaporize him like that, I think he's gonna be too dead to do this. I think he's just dead. It's too late. But if Naruto just did a Rasengan, carved a hole in Boruto's chest, that's not 95% obviously though, but then he could do it. It just depends on context, I think.
Okay.
As a different hypothetical, if
So
like Momoshi, if Naruto did that and he erased 90% of Boruto, so that all that was left of Boruto was his heart, his lungs, and his brain. Just the organs with a string attached between them. Then he might be able to do it.
we know that, well, what Momoshiki was restoring was the organs. So we know the organs can be damaged or even entirely erased, and that's fine.
Yeah, but
You can
like,
still resuscitate.
yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. Like the way it's worded makes it a little bit tricky as to like how dead he can be and get away with this.
It also seems like he's not just filling the space, he's healing the organs. The organs aren't just shaped the same way, they function the same way. The fact that he can do that at all.
Which is weird for why it has the karma tattoo. Not talking from an artistic standpoint, but from a like in series standpoint.
I
like,
agree.
That doesn't make sense. It's
because
Boruto's
it shouldn't be
data.
Momoshiki's organs.
Boruto's data isn't black karma tattoo. Like, they shouldn't do that. It's not like Boruto's
what if he was using... I got something for you. What if he filled that 17% of Boruto's data with the 83% of Momoshiki's data that is now in Boruto's data? There you go.
So stupid. But
So
yeah,
at that
like
point, it'd
it's
be
not like when
17%
Momoshiki's
of
karma
17%
normally
would be
extracts though. It's
Boruto.
not just painting Boruto black. Like of all like the times, why does it do this when it's Boruto's own data? Like the one time it wouldn't make sense to do that. It's when it does it. But I feel like though,
like
instead
clearly
of
the karma when it activates, it's spreads across the body.
So
where
no,
it's
okay, glad you
extracted to.
brought that up. So that's the thing. I know that this removes the whole feeding Boruto and Kawaki to the Ten Tails aspect of it. I get that. But I think it would have made more sense if that the karma just like extracts in the sense that the seal opens up more and more. When the door's fully opened, the karma can spread completely over the body. And when it does so, they can then overwrite the data, which is kind of like Kurama, like the seal weakened, and then eventually all of Kurama's chakra could come out and he could take over. Instead of the genetic rewriting thing, it should just all happen at once. So the seal weakens. When it hits 100%, Momoshiki can just overwrite all of it at once, which is kind of what happens anyway, but also not. Instead, so there wouldn't be an 80% Otsutsuki Boruto.
That's what I was saying.
Well, that's how it should be, but that's not how it is.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was saying. That's the same thing with the zombie thing that I was saying.
Yes. And
you're
that's
100% human, even if you're technically 80% zombie.
And that's why it was hilarious when you said, we are using the series is the problem. And I was like, that was hilarious. And you're not wrong.
Bro, I clipped that specific moment. Like, that 30-second segment, which is so
it's
funny.
like, you're not wrong. Like, that is the problem. But like, of course, we're using this series because we're arguing what is the case, not what should be the case. At least we were. And yeah, that's the issue. Like,
is the case.
It shouldn't be the way it is.
Okay, what about this analogy? Because it's very similar, and I've used this analogy before, not in this context though. It's like an artist. An artist can draw a picture in 20 minutes, but that picture didn't just take 20 minutes. It took the 10 years of skill that went into being able to make that picture in 20 minutes. In that case, that artist is making that piece all at once, but they couldn't have made it all at once if it wasn't for everything that came before it that led to that moment being possible in the first place. So same as like the zombie, same as like karma extraction. Do you think that analogy fits?
In what sense for the karma seal? Like, how are you applying the analogy in that case?
In the same way the other analogy was applied that didn't fit from your perspective.
Yeah, but like, like spell it out a little bit more. Like,
I don't remember.
So like, yeah, I get it. Like, like the artist, it didn't take it 20 minutes. It took the 10 years plus 20 minutes. But like, how does that apply to the karma seal situation? Like,
it's like Kurama though. Kurama couldn't just take over baby Naruto. He had to weaken the seal first.
So it didn't take just 1 minute to take over Naruto. It took the 10 years plus 1 minute, or like, whatever. Well, like 16 years, but
exactly. And same with the karma seal.
But we're not talking about speed of the karma seal.
Okay.
So I don't get how this relates to the Kitamaki discussion at all.
Because again, it's like the zombie bite, the karma seal extracts, but that doesn't mean anything until the last moment where it means everything.
Yeah, but that's not how it is in the series.
Well, no, I think it is, because Momoshiki can't take over until it hits 100% anyway.
No, but it's not everything. That's the difference. It's not. So while the most important part comes at the end there, it's not actually all or nothing. It's some all or nothing. Like, there is a sum in the middle, which is the current state.
Well, no, it's because it is all or nothing, because Momoshiki can't take over because Boruto's stuck at 83%.
No, but he can't take
83% of the way take over.
But he can take over Boruto's mind, and his soul is there. That is more than nothing. Momoshiki
but he can do that anyway.
Fully resurrect. That's the all.
I mean revive. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, but that's what he wanted. That's all he cared about.
But he still has... No, but it's not. Because he also wants to stay alive, which is his soul. He wants to keep his soul around in the world of living, which is currently in place. His soul is there, and he can take over Boruto's body, which is effectively basically the same thing. Not quite, but it's some. It's not all, but it's some. And it's definitely more than none. Nothing would be dead and gone. So it's more than that, clearly. That's why it's not all or nothing. Because there is an in-between.
No, I mean, he cannot resurrect unless the karma seal has extracted 100%. That is the all or nothing.
Okay.
He cannot access at all resurrection in any kind of form. Unless the karma shows up 100%.
That gets into the definition of resurrection. Look that up.
In the way that Momoshiki means it, and the way I mean it.
Restore a dead person to life. So if Momoshiki's soul is alive, but it was previously dead, does that count?
Well, it doesn't say soul, it says person. If you want to be
Is
real
Momoshiki
technical
even a
about
person?
it, Momoshiki's not a person. Yeah, there you go.
So he couldn't resurrect in the first place. So it's not all or nothing. It was just nothing.
See, that's what I'm talking about. What is dead in Naruto? Because could Momoshiki be alive in the first place? He's not a person.
What is a person in Naruto?